tonight are probably aware it's probably partly a painful job. There's a lot of acronyms to deal with, a lot of jargon, a lot of procedures, and it's all in the interest of building the best education for the children who are theoretically, one way or another, the future of our city and our state and our country, etc. Terry Fall, the standing school board representative, just walked in, so I'd like to acknowledge him that he's here. Jason Haas is running for District 14 County Supervisor. See, I see him in the back. Are there any other dignitaries who are looking for, is that Greg Dickinson? Greg Dickinson, also running for District 14, has just stepped in here in the brown coat. Anyone else who requires acknowledgement?
I'm going to leave in about 5 minutes because we got a school board meeting tonight.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okie doke. Then what the procedure tonight will be that each of the candidates will be getting 1 minute to respond to our questions. They'll have opening statements of a minute. They'll have closing statements at the end. If there's a topic that seems like it's generating a lot of discussion, I may just open it up to all three of them after each of them has had an opportunity to respond. We've got Greg, our timekeeper here, who I'd like to just have you show what we're going to be doing. He's going to be keeping time once I've asked you the question. His timekeeping as the authority, we'll just kind of give you a little countdown, and once we're at red, I'd encourage you to wrap up your comments, and then and we'll move on. Anyone else in the audience have questions that they'd like to bring up to the front at this point? Okay, why don't we do that? And we'll get going in just a second when I get a chance to see what these are.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Megan is just suggesting, and I agree, if we could have folks move up so that latecomers will have a place to filter in. We won't bite you up here, and we do have more chairs up front. Okay, let's get started. We'll work for the folks who are using mics if you can. Basically, for your opening statements, who are you and why are you running? Give a minute for Megan, Candy Jo Lesniewski, and Heinz. So, Megan.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you to Bayview Compass and to the District 8 parents. It's a pleasure to be here. And you know, as I was on my way over, I was thinking about the last couple of weeks and how it's brought into hard focus some of the concerns that brought me into this race in the first place. So, you know, from the open enrollment bill that recently passed in the Senate to the letters that came home to all of us from our principals describing the budgets that they're facing for this coming year, the news of the state budget that's going to roll out at the end of this month. You know, we're more of a crossroads than I think we initially anticipated in terms of graduation rates and achievement, and we're all here because we believe that MPS can do better. I know that's why I'm here. And I think that I have the experience, the stake in this with my 4 little boys, the background in public policy and working directly with the schools, and I have the backing of the teachers, and I would be really amazingly proud to have her vote. Thank you.
Candy Jo.
Hi, thank you for inviting me here this evening. The main reason that I decided to run for school board was that I have 2 children in the system, and I'm currently not happy with the opportunities that are offered by the system. Once you get out of grade school, looking at our middle schools and high schools, I would like to build a stronger system so that when parents are looking at our schools, they are not running to the outside schools, Franklin, South, Milwaukee, any of the other neighborhood schools. We need to keep people in our city and bring the programs to our city so our city becomes strong. Thank you.
Ed?
This is kind of I had a little longer thing prepared than originally, but I've always been interested in public service, and I've been interested in the educational system in Milwaukee. My son was a successful graduate of the MPS system. I'm proud of the education he got here. He's currently in the Army. He's going to be returning to Milwaukee when his tour of duty is over. I'd like to see if we can maintain the system and improve it so that my grandchildren have at least the same opportunities, if not better opportunities than he's had in the past. I'd like to see if we can improve the cooperation and partnership that we have between the superintendent, who I think is a very exciting individual, is going to do a lot of good things for us, and the board and the teachers. I think we need to focus our work on education. I'd like to see if we can improve our core skills in graduation rates, particularly in math, science, and language skills that we're going to need. Students to select their own future piece. And I'd also thank everybody for the opportunity to speak with you tonight.
Great, and I very much appreciate your keeping it in showing us more questions. We've got a question here that's almost the first one I was going to have you guys go with anyway, which is, what do you perceive is the role of the school board representative? And that dovetails in with what I was going to ask you, which is, what is the role, and what is your understanding of the powers that school boards have? What are the limits to their power? So for the first one, we'll go in the same order, and after that, we'll rotate so that the second question, each other speak first, and we'll go around. So, Meg, what is the role of the school board?
Well, I've actually attended a fair number of school board meetings, and I think that I have a pretty keen understanding of the role. I'm in the central office at different community meetings, so working with people in the central office to start. I understand pretty well the limitations of what can be done on Bleed Street versus what's the role of Madison versus what comes down from Washington. Our biggest problems is the perception that the board controls a lot more of our destiny than in some cases it actually does. And that to Madison, across the building, in the administration office, across from the boardroom, changes that are coming down from Washington, and what we need to anticipate to keep the district strong in light of them.
So, Candy, what do you understand to be the role of the school board director?
The school board director is the superintendent. They're the person that the parents would contact if they have a problem. Of course, they're the budget, the go-between, all the functions. I sit on the governance council at my children's school, and I understand and spending that can be cut in and bring to start looking at those. Thank you.
Okay.
Obviously, the school board has a critical role when it comes to budget and guidance for the superintendent and the teachers. I think we need to have more partnership between the school board and the parents and the teachers and the superintendent, so we focus on educational goals. One of the things I'd like to see is more outreach from the board to the parents and to the teachers, so that there's more communication going on, so that we're more aware of what's going on day to day in our schools. I also think that Megan is correct that we need to be more aware and more proactive with working with our legislators, particularly in Madison. That's going to be critical. I don't think that in the last 8 to 10 years that we've done an effective job of talking about the positive aspects of our school system, and there are many. I don't think we've gotten that message out. I also don't think that we've effectively interacted with our legislators to help make sure that they're helping us rather than hindering us in the goals to improve the MPS system.
Kind of following up on how you guys addressed that question, why don't I just ask you some of the hows to what you guys were talking about, and then also what the main issue of your campaign is. What's the one thing, what's the biggest plank in your platform? And we'll start with Candy.
I'm sorry, can you?
What is the main issue of your campaign?
My main issue is that I feel that the school board needs to be our go-between person. That parents need to have somebody to go to, that they can give their questions to, their concerns to, and know that somebody's going to get back to them with answers or direction. I don't feel that right now the school board is doing a very good job of that. We need to be open to coming into the schools, meeting with teachers, letting them know what's going on down on Bleed Street, letting them know the bills that are being passed, the new legislation, keep everybody in the loop. I think that MPS is not broken by far. and that this system can definitely be brought back to where we have kids staying and we have outside kids coming into our system. Thank you.
There's a couple of issues that people talk about door to door. One of the ones I've bumped into a number of times is programs in the schools. They're concerned about loss of programs, particularly things that we've often talked about as luxuries, art, gym, music. We want to be able to keep those. Property taxes have come up a little bit, but they're more concerned about future increases in property taxes as a result of loss of revenue sharing from Madison, opposed to the way it is right now. Graduates talk about a lot. I look at parental involvement as an important thing that a board member can help improve. One of the ways is making sure that parents not only are involved with their children, but try to keep them involved with their actual schools. Too often we see a board meeting where they're talking about closing or moving the school or changing the school, and the parents all of a sudden show up and are concerned. I think they need to be concerned from day one and get the word out about the successes in their schools so we don't come to the point where we have to make those decisions.
I spend a lot of time going door to door and talking with people, and I find that generally folks are in two camps. That they believe in MPS quite strongly, and they're discouraged by the true obstacles that we face and the disinformation that seems to be out there about the great things that are going on in the district. And then there are folks who have bought that, who really do believe that there's absolutely nothing going on in MPS that is worth maintaining, that's worth supporting. And I want to take care of the first group. I want to say, yes, I'm like you, like, my kid is getting a fantastic education, and that's the case for a lot of people. And we need to be careful of these budget cuts and do what we can. And I want to talk to the people in the second group and make.
I look forward to partnering with him and the teachers to make his goals successful.
Megan?
Well, I like his rhetoric. I like what he's had to say so far. I like that he seems to have been able to share that message a little bit, and we've seen some really, good articles in the press lately about the schools. And I was involved with the English curriculum, the reading curriculum as it was promulgated last year. It was actually something that Andrew Koppelis put forward, and we have to be mindful that some of our best schools in NPS, the Montessori schools, the art schools, and that they need to be able to also opt out of those programs as much as they do work for some, or else we really threaten those programs and their individuality and their attractiveness to parents that are truly seeking those methodologies. But I'm very enthused by the idea that he puts forward of the standard of care. I think that looking at the whole student and that we focus on their health needs, that we focus on what sort of extra responsibilities they take on at home is something that I've been talking about as well. I'm really glad that he shares that point of view.
Candy, Jim?
I have great respect for him. However, I have a little bit of a different outtake. I have spent a lot of the school year going back and forth with him in regards to getting the STEM program established in our school. I thought it would be very easy considering that we had a teacher who was trained in the program, we have the curriculum, we have a school that definitely wants the program, the teachers are all on board, we found a community backer, and he seems to be struggling with the goal. And I am very disappointed to a point, but at another, it makes me want to work a little bit harder to see what is making him tick and how he perceives how these programs are going to be established throughout our system.